Hey everyone, I wanted to come on and do what I had committed to, which is video at least once a month and try to stick to that. And I'm reaching out. It's been a crazy month over the last month. The last like 4 to 6 weeks have been a ride since Spirit and a Bride. Many times after having great victory, we have not great attacks, but we have attacks and we have opposition that we face or even discouragement. And so just wanted to reach out. I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who has been praying for my family. We are grateful. We are grateful that you're praying for our family. We're grateful that you're praying for our daughter in this season. Um, Continue to speak life. It has been difficult, and she is still continuing to go forward and live. And that's what we declare. She will live and not die. And so we're grateful. We're grateful that you're praying. And I know that as an apostle of the Lord, um, this has been a life. Like I can honestly say, almost 48 years of trials, tribulations, opposition, and even sin, because we cannot pretend that we don't make mistakes, that we don't sin before the Lord. And I just wanted to read something from Corinthians because I really believe that sometimes what we call opposition is our own trials, our own things that we're dealing with. Sometimes you have opposition, and sometimes you just have things that you have to overcome. And what can you learn from them? And I'm reminded in Paul's life in Second of Corinthians. I'm just going to read it to you on my word here. Second of Corinthians 11:25 through 29. And I go to this to remind myself that no matter what I'm going through, Jesus went through worse. And so did many of the apostles and disciples and leaders. And many great leaders, many, if not all, in order to do great things, you had to face and go through great opposition and great trials. And I'm going to read you from verses 25 through 29 and just kind of want you to hear this because it really ministers to to our heart to let us know that we are going to go through things, and going through things with God is always going to be better than going through things without God. And so I want to read this. Verse 25 leads with 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in open sea. I have been constantly on the move. I have been in danger from the rivers, in danger from the bandits, in danger from my fellow Jews, in danger from Gentiles, in danger in the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, and in danger from false believers. I have labored and I have toiled and have gone often without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst, and I have often gone without food. I have been cold and I have been naked. And besides all this, like it's crazy to hear all this. And in verse 28, he says, besides everything else, everything that he just mentioned, I faced a daily pressure of my concern for all the churches. And I'm just like so overwhelmed to know that while he's dealing with stuff, while Paul is going through major things, opposition, beatings, his concern is for the church, of my pressure, my daily, like I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches, not some of the churches, not just this denomination, but all the churches. And that's a big deal. Where is our concern for the church while we're going through things? In 29, he says, who is weak? I do not feel weak. Who is led into sin and do not inwardly burn? He's letting us know I'm going through all these things And my concern at times is more for you than for myself. And I also am weak. I go through weaknesses because many times people look at leaders like they're not fallible, like they cannot make mistakes because your sight has then become the leader instead of God. Your sight has become the leader instead of Jesus. And we must understand that leaders will make mistakes, leaders will fail you, leaders will want to quit many times, but they don't. He's letting you know who is weak. I'm weak. I'm battling some weaknesses because I've been hit. I've been stoned. I've been shipwrecked. I've been hungry. I've been naked. I've battled and I've toiled, and I get weak as well. Who's led into sin, and do I not inwardly burn? That doesn't mean that people don't battle with sin. They don't battle with a sinful nature. They don't battle with things that, we have a false narrative as the church to believe that we won't fail God or his people. And we cannot present to the church and the people in this world that once you accept the Lord, that everything's just going to be rainbows and unicorns. It is false. It is false to lie to people and tell them that in this world you will have trouble. This is what Jesus is saying, not false. This is what Jesus is saying in the word. In this world you will have troubles, but take heart. In this world, not in the next. In this world, while you are living, you will face troubles, but take heart, be of courage, be courageous, be brave, because I have overcome. And because I've overcome, yes, you are with me, Christ in me, the hope of glory, doesn't mean that I'm not going to face moments that I want to give up and give in to whatever is happening and just kind of be like, I want to call it quits. And I I'm not saying that I'm quitting. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is we all have those moments, and we have to go to the word. We have to go to the truth, and we have to be encouraged to understand that yes, we're going through stuff, and yes, I travel all over the world and I minister, and I'm blessed to do it. It is a privilege to work in our Father's business. It is an honor, it is a privilege, and there's a cost. I may fly on airplanes as Paul was shipwrecked. How many times have my airplanes almost crashed, or there's something wrong, or at the end of the runway it breaks? And when I mean breaks, like they literally break and the plane is going sideways. How many times have we almost like landed and run into another airplane where they've had to pull up? How many accidents? How many things do we have to deal with? People are like, oh, you must be doing something wrong. Was Paul sinning? Was Paul doing something wrong? You don't say this about the greats in the word who dealt with so much and had such a past. I have a past. You have a past. We all have a past. And to understand that sometimes we're going to go through things and it is a trial, and trials are made for us to be tested and proved unto God. And so when we look at people's lives, be careful not to judge their trials and tribulations and call it something else, because you do not know their surrender. You do not know their posture. You do not know their prayer life. You do not know their giving and their seeking and their surrender. So be careful that when you're looking at someone's life, you don't judge them for what they're going through. Because I'm just going to read the bullet points of what he said. 3 times I was beaten. How many times were we beaten? Probably none. Maybe as children, I don't know. Once I was pelted with stones. Have we been pelted with stones? 3 times I was shipwrecked. Have we been shipwrecked? He spent a day and a night in the open sea, constantly on the move. And then when he talks about danger, because a lot of people like to say, we can't live in fear. I'm not living in fear. I fear God. And if I die, so be it. Then I die doing something I love, dying doing something that's worth it. I've gone through dealing with kidney disease and knowing that right now, what God has done is a miracle. My daughter was born And I know she's a miracle. Both of my children are miracles. And to understand that, Paul wasn't scared, but he's letting you know this is what I've gone through, dangers from the rivers. That means nature itself is dangerous. And we need to be aware. I've been in danger from the rivers. This is what he's saying. Danger from bandits. There's people that would love to come in, people who are rebellious, people who are of the enemy and would like to destroy you. The Bible says that the devil comes to rob, kill, and destroy, and he has come to give us life and life in abundance. So we have to live from the life in abundance, but we can't be ignorant that the enemy does come to rob, kill, and destroy, and we're not going to let him come in and take over in our lives. So we need to be aware of those schemes. He's been danger from the rivers, danger from bandits, danger from my fellow Jews. What does this tell you? That the people that are your fellow people doesn't mean that you won't be in danger from them. Many times jealousy rises up within them when they're seeing somebody who they do not think should be the one God should use. Let me be clear, and I've said this since I encountered the Lord. I myself question his choice in me, and I'll be obedient. Trust me, my mouth, my mind, my heart, they're surrendered to him. It does not mean that my flesh doesn't pop out and sarcasm and joking, because it's just a coping mechanism that we have used in our culture and its world to deal with things. So being in danger from your fellow Jews lets you know that you're going to be in danger from your own culture. You're going to be in danger from the own church, the people who do not think that you're approved by God. And at the end of the day, our approval comes from him, not from each other. I don't need you to applaud me or approve me. And I don't need to approve you and applaud you. But what if we came into agreement with Jesus and each other and fulfilled everything he asked us to do? And he continues and he says, I'm in danger from the Gentiles. I'm in danger. That means even those who are not in the inner culture and faith, even being in danger from them. Then he says, I'm in danger in the city. That means the city life, you can be in danger. I'm in danger in the country. I'm in danger at sea. I'm in danger from false believers. That means there's people who are going to be within the church walls who are Pharisees and Sadducees, and you will have danger from them. What does that mean? I don't have the exact details. It doesn't tell us, but danger means alert. There's going to be people that within the house of the Lord are going to oppose what God is doing in you and through you, because they don't explain it, they don't understand it, and because they don't understand and explain it, it cannot be revealed to them. And so they're stuck in a place where Liz is this person forever, instead of God is greater and powerful, that he could change little old Lizzie and her attitude and her ways. No, he didn't change my character completely, guys. I will go hard for what I believe in. And there are times where I'm Peter and I'm going to chop an ear aiming for the head. And I'm not going to put my sword away until he says so, because that's what Peter did. And I'm not justifying the character of fleshly ways. I don't want you to think like that. But I also do read the word. And Peter didn't put his sword away until Jesus said, put your sword away. So was he aiming again? I want us to not be so religious that we think that everything in the word is perfect. David was a murderer, like, and not a murderer, he murdered. That I don't want to change his identity from being a man that is conforming to the heart of God. I don't want a man after God's own heart. I'm definitely not changing his identity, because many times we change people's identities to what we think and what we feel and what we see, and we're not looking at it from the perspective of God. If we got stuck on Paul, we get stuck on Saul, what he did prior to his conversion. And then it tells us, he said, I labored and toiled. That means he worked hard. This can get exhausting. And over the past couple of weeks, yeah, I cannot lie to you, I've wanted to give up. And I wanted to say, I just want to take care of me and my family and not do this. And I'm not going to. But there's moments where you labor and you toil and you get exhausted. And it says, I've gone without sleep. When you go without sleep and you're going without food, your mind is not right, your heart's not right, your flesh is not right. You feel sick because you're doing for everyone else, but you're not caring for you. And self care is God care. And I have to say that. And then he tells us specifically, I've known hunger and thirst, and I've gone without food. None of us can really say that, but we're going through some times right now where we're struggling. It is not easy financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, just so many ways that people are going without. And then he said, I've been cold and I've been naked. He didn't even have for clothing. And so his concern wasn't even everything he was going through. He went through all those things. He let us know, I'm going through some things. I'm letting you know, I'm going through some things. Your leaders could be going through some things right now. Don't get stuck on like everything has to be perfect, because the only perfect one is Jesus Christ. And as long as we have him, we will be perfected. As long as we continue to surrender to him and be obedient to him, we will be perfected. But his concern was for the church. And my concern is for the church. My concern is that we're living the word, that we're living for God, that we're surrendered, that we're obedient, that we don't continue to clock in to a system of religion that has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. And he talked about, having weaknesses and dealing with things. Remember that we're all under construction, including your leaders. So when you consider looking at leaders and apostles and pastors and evangelists and teachers and prophets, remember that they're human and that they go through things. And they could have gone through a resume just like Paul's, and they could be going through something right now, but their concern is still for you. But are you concerned for them? Do you pray for them? Do you love them? Do you encourage them? Encourage your leaders. I received a beautiful note. I've received prayers. I've received encouragement. Every time you guys have liked things and have encouraged me and have prayed for my daughter and my family, you're praying for us. And we're grateful, because to me, you're going before the God of the universe and you're presenting my family. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts we can give people, that we can reconcile their hearts back to the Father. So I'm praying for you in this season. Continue to pray for me as we wait for miracles, signs, and wonders in our daughters' lives, in our son's life, and in the ministry, those that we lead, that we see signs, miracles, and wonders, that we continue to affect this world for God, that we don't get stuck on the trials and tribulations, but that we overcome them, and we overcome them with Jesus. So just be encouraged. And I want to truly thank you for praying for every single one of us and my daughter and our family. We love you and God bless you.